What up? What up? What up? This is your boy Bobby from playingwithpizza.com. Today we got another reaction video for you. I hope you enjoyed the one we did with patio pizza. Today we are looking at Adam Ragusea's first New York pizza recipe. You ready? Let's go. Hit it, Adam.
For 10 years, I've been trying to make real New York-style pizza at home, and I think that I've gotten as close as I'm ever going to get. At the very least, this is a damn good pizza, authentic or not.
Nice.
For the dough, start with a teaspoon of yeast, a teaspoon of sugar, and a quarter cup of warm water, and wait 5 minutes.
All right, so this is a nice way to start it, getting your water in first. I'm not a fan of waiting. I use instant dry yeast when I make my pizza, and I do not wait. You don't even need to put the yeast in the water, but I think it's a good idea. All right, carry on.
I've heard that blooming the yeast like this is not really necessary, but I like to do it just to make sure that my yeast is still alive before I spend 2 days waiting for a dough to rise that never will. Then put in 2 more cups of warm water, a tablespoon more sugar, and a tablespoon of salt.
All right, now I have switched from using sugar to malted barley syrup. Some people use diastatic malt powder. We got a nice natural food store in town that sells the barley syrup, the malt barley syrup, and I love it. Some would suggest to wait to add the salt and the oil, but you know, Adam is a good cook. He experiments, and he's going to do things his own way. Let's go.
And then a glug of olive oil. That's like a quarter cup at most. Then bread.
Quarter cup at most. Come on, maybe a tablespoon. Who's drinking olive oil, right, in their pizza?
Bread flour, high protein flour. 5 cups to start with.
Hello. Yeah, he's not using weights here. He's just using cups. He don't care. He don't got time for that. I appreciate that about him. He's probably made enough dough. He can do it by feel. He'll know what he needs to add. So probably doesn't help you, but that's just Adam being Adam. Let's go.
And then knead in the mixer with the dough hook attachment. Wait until it comes together into a reasonably smooth, solid mass, and then you gotta poke it. It should be only slightly sticky. If it's really sticky, add more flour. 5 cups is conservative. You'll know that you've kneaded the dough enough when you can stretch out a little chunk of it so
I don't know. This is the window pane test, and I tell you, I don't think my dough ever passes the window pane test. But I've been letting it, ferment in the fridge for 24 to 48 hours, and it stretches just fine.
Thin that you can see light through it. Now this recipe makes 4 pizzas of the maximum size that I can safely bake in my oven, which
I hate him. I hate seeing the dough ripped like that. And I would let the dough rise on the counter for a little bit before I attempted to shape them into balls. Why do I always think that's funny when I say that?
Which is 12 to 13 inches in diameter. So I rip the dough into 4 chunks, and then I roll each of those chunks into a smooth, even ball. Their shape really matters, which is why I rise each ball in its own oiled container.
That's a lot of oil.
Toss the ball around in the oil and then use it to grease up the sides of the bowl or the Tupperware or whatever it is that you're using that will allow the ball to rise in an even, round shape. Cover them up and put them in the refrigerator. A long, slow rise in the fridge is what gets you the best flavor and texture. 24 hours is the bare minimum. Now, when I mix my dough is when I make my sauce. You need a 28-ounce can of whole plum tomatoes. I really prefer San Marzanos. That's the expensive kind from Italy because...
Now, this is just my opinion here. What San Marzanos are good tomatoes. They got a good flavor. Something about the volcanic ash in the soil where it's grown in this particular region. Now, there's some debate whether Cento certified is the same as DOP. DOP is a certification that it came from a specific place of origin. But I've used Cento and I used other San Marzanos, and it's a good flavor. But I just want to let you know about the controversy about Cento certified. Are they really DOP? Yeah, you know me.
They are really acidic. They're very bright. But no matter what kind you get, they will be packed in some kind of liquid. I think the liquid is usually ground up, lesser quality tomatoes that tend to taste pretty bitter. So I fish the whole tomatoes out into a bowl and I throw away the liquid.
Hold on. I see so many people doing this. They just take that out. Chef Leo Spazzeri, he'll even get the liquid out of those tomatoes right there. I love a little extra liquid on my pizza. In fact, one of my favorite sauces, if you will, is open up a can of Aldi crushed tomatoes. I forget the name of it. It's like Harvest Fresh or something like that. And just put that on. I call it a watery sauce. So it's a watery tomato, bit of a little salt, little oregano, and it's just, when you bite into it, it is awesome. Let's go.
You could just squish them with your hand, but I like a smooth texture, so I use my stick blender.
As Chef Leo says, if you use your hand, if there's any pieces of the stem from the plant that's left in the fruit, you can pull it out.
And I put in a pinch of sugar, a glug of olive oil. That really improves the flavor of the olive oil. And then I put in a lot of dried oregano, which I think is the defining herb of New York-style pizza.
Yes, I love oregano on my pizza. My mother hates it. Vincenzo Plates hates it. I love it.
Finally, I put 2 or 3 tablespoons of tomato paste in. Without the tomato paste, the sauce is never intense enough. Though if you put in too much, it spoils that fresh, raw tomato taste that you get from, the plum tomatoes. Tomato paste is, of course, just heavily cooked and reduced tomato sauce. So I stir it up and I add more tomato paste until it looks just thick enough to me. That is enough for 4 pizzas.
That does look good.
And I put this in the refrigerator with the dough because I think it tastes better after it sits around for a few days. Like I said, you gotta age the dough for 24 hours at least. This has been in for 48 hours, which I really prefer, though sometimes I age it a whole week. It almost tastes like sourdough when you age it that long.
Yeah,
this is my pizza stone.
Hours.
You really need one of these, and you should get the biggest one that'll fit in your oven.
Yeah, pizza stones are so yesterday. This is a little bit older video, but you really want a pizza steel, a bacon steel. They're absolutely incredible.
In my oven, I get the best results on an upper middle rack position, though that took some experimenting. Every oven is different. If you have a convection setting, use that. It'll help with the browning of the cheese. Preheat to the highest temperature that your oven's got. No matter how fast it comes up to temperature, let it sit and preheat for 1 full hour. Because this is not just about heating the oven, it's about heating the stone. The stone has got to get rocket hot, and it's very dense, so it takes a while.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. If you're using a stone or steel, let the stone or the steel adequately heat up, because it just won't transfer heat well enough when you're trying to cook your pizza.
Preheat for a full hour. Time to think about cheese, and yes, I use string cheese. It is ridiculous, but where I live, this is the only form in which I can get whole milk, low moisture mozzarella.
I got friends who laugh at me because I go to the deli counter and I just get slices of mozzarella or provolone. Sometimes brick, sometimes jack. But I love using deli slices.
If it's part skim, it won't taste right. If it's not low moisture, the pizza will be soggy. Now, you can probably buy a block of whole milk, low moisture mozzarella in your city. I have to make do with these stupid sticks, but it's not so bad. 6 of them is the perfect amount, 6 ounces for a 12-inch pizza. That's perfect. And then I also grate up some Parmesan or Pecorino to put under the mozzarella layer, which I think is traditional in the higher quality New York-style places.
So, growing up in an Italian family, my great grandparents came from Italy. I can't stand grated cheese. I use it sometimes, but I was never a fan. And yeah, we usually had the what do they call it, the cardboard dust, just the regular grated cheese out of that plastic can.
When the oven is ready, get your pizza peel. Yeah, you really need one of these too. Then you have to dust it with something so that the pizza won't stick. Semolina or cornmeal would be traditional, I think, but I have found that coarse ground whole wheat flour works best. It does the job without adding any gritty texture. Now get out your dough ball. That smooth top is going to be the bottom of the pizza because it's more likely to slide off of the peel cleanly.
See, this is something I think I've been getting wrong, and so this is the second time I've heard that, because I've always heard, keep the top, the bottom, the bottom. But I think I'm going to try this next time I make a pizza.
This rough underside will be the top because it'll better adhere to the sauce.
See that oil?
I
told you.
I start by just going around and forming the cornice. That's the fluffy outer ring of crust. Never smash it down, otherwise it'll never fluff up. Then I just stretch out the dough with my hands. You could toss it in the air like a boss, but that takes skill, it's risky, it's messy, and it really only saves you meaningful amounts of time when you're making 100 pizzas a day. For one pizza, hand stretching is fine. You'll know that you've got it thin enough when, again, you can see light through it. Once you lay it down on your peel, you have to work fast.
Yes. If you don't, that thing's just going to stick and it won't launch into the oven.
Otherwise, the dough will bond to the wood and you'll never be able to slide it off into the oven. Put your sauce on. I like lots of sauce. Then the Parmesan layer. This really improves the flavor of the pizza, makes it much more rich. Then put on your mozzarella and really take pains to get it on evenly all over, otherwise it won't melt or brown correctly. When you're done, pick up the peel and shake it back and forth to make...
That's good advice right there. You see those 2 dollops of pizza sauce on the back end? That's not a problem because you're not going to be sliding. But you don't want any dollops of sauce on the front end of that pizza peel because it's going to impede launching the pizza off the peel into the oven.
Sure that the pizza is going to release when you take it to the oven. You got to be able to do this with some confidence, like flipping an egg. This should only take 5 or 6 minutes to bake. The trick is waiting for the cheese to brown, but not so long that the cheese overheats and starts to separate.
Yeah, that again, some more good advice from Adam. I fixed pizza with provolone, and I just let it cook too long. A lot of the oil came out of the cheese. The cheese really almost, because it lost all that moisture from the oil, it really congealed and was almost like going back to a cheese solid instead of a melted gooey cheese.
Get a lot of that orange grease layer oozing out. Some separation is inevitable, but you can minimize it by not leaving the pizza in there for too long.
That's looking good.
Rather than use the peel, I like to pull the pizza out with a pair of tongs right onto a cooling rack. Resting the pizza on the rack helps keep it crispy, but also...
That's smart. I don't know, I have a metal peel that I like and use, and so I use that and I put it on a rack. That's interesting, but I think I have more control with the peel.
When I've tried resting a hot pizza on my plastic cutting boards, the crust tends to take on the flavor of the dishwasher, which is gross. When it's eating temperature, you're safe to transfer to a cutting board. Now this pizza is only 12 inches wide, which is way smaller than traditional New York pizza because we just have a normal little home oven, right? But to me, a defining feature of New York pizza is big, foldable slices. So I just cut this pizza into quarters.
There you go.
That's a nice big slice. Look how brown the bottom is too, by the way. That's what you get from heating the stone for a long time. So there you go. I really think this gets me very close to my favorite New York style pizzas.
And it looks really good. I had somebody in a pizza forum give me some smoke. I said, here's an attempt at a New York style pizza. And he said, that's not a New York pizza. And I replied, I didn't say it was. I said it was New York style. So here, Adam recognizes that, hey, this is not a 16-inch, not 18-inch pizza. You're not getting a humongous slice. But for me, a New York pizza is capturing the flavor and the essence of it. And I think you can do that in a home oven, thanks to like pizza stones, pizza steels. You can get close enough for government work and close enough for my taste buds. Well done, Adam.
If you think you know a better way, seriously, please tell me. I'm sure that I will be working on this for a further 10 years.
He will be.